Channel 2, English. Channel 2, English.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Strasbourg and those watching us online to this S&T press briefing with our group president, Iratxe García Pérez. And afterwards, you have, of course, time for your questions. Merci.
Buenos días.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for coming along to this meeting. Obviously, when we are looking back at the last week, I think that everybody is aware of the fact that during this week, what we are going to be doing and are doing is dependent on events on the international stage. We're trying to set a stance. We're trying to create an image of Europe, which we feel is fundamental, and we want to move forward on that. But first of all, I should like to pass on a very clear, important message. It may not be necessary in some opinions, but we have to do this. We have to condemn the Iranian regime for what it has done, because the Ayatollahs have brutally suppressed their own people. And this is something which applies to the whole region. And up until now, what we have supported are the new sanctions against the Iranian regime. I'm saying this because this has been the position of the S&D group over the past years. We have been strong defenders of human rights, and therefore, on many, many occasions, we have condemned the dictatorship of the Ayatollahs. From that as a basis, and from the introduction of new sanctions, I should like to say something very clearly. It's very important when we are looking at the legitimate legal defense of somewhere. We need the agreement of the UN, and none of these instances is true here. What we are seeing is a one-way unilateral attack on Iran. And we're opening the doors to a new, very dangerous world order, which is going to jeopardize the international order and multilateralism. And I think what is fundamental is that we have to say that every single human life is equal, whether it's Lebanese, Iranian, Ukrainian, child, man or woman. And we defend international law. And we don't want a situation where might is deemed to be right. There have been doubts expressed on the strict application of international law, and it seems that now it's been using in rather a selective manner. And it's not possible to use international law selectively, because that is not law, that is not right. It's not justified if you can just choose to do what you want. You've heard the comments made by Ms. von der Leyen, and you've heard about these comments on the new order which has been established. And I think that we really do need to mull this over further. We have to look at what the alternative to what we have at the moment, the rules imposed by Putin or Netanyahu, threats to security. Is that what we want for our citizens? We hope that we get a clear stance from the European Commission and Member States, one sole voice which defends international law and also defends the security and safety of our citizens and their lives. Because if not, the situation is very clear. Trump is playing his own game, and Europe is paying for the party. They're paying for the consequences of what is being done. European citizens are paying for the consequences. An increase in the cost of living, the cost of energy, the cost of food. This is not what Europe should be having to do. And therefore, I really do think that this is the time to act, to minimize the impact on our citizens before they are really heavily affected. Both citizens and companies are suffering from inflation. And it's important that we work on that within the European institutions and look at what they are and what we can do, because we have to take advantage, I think, of referring also to the debate which is going on in the hemicycle on housing. I should like to thank those within our group, the S&D, for the work which they have done in this context on the report, which is going to be voted on, because I think it is a report which could make a difference to all Europeans. It could make important contributions in the context of regulating short-term rentals, also ensuring that there is accessible social housing for our people and moderate speculation. We are very, very concerned about what our citizens need, our young people. We need to ensure that in Europe, we are reliable in this context, and we put proposals on the table which try to combat one of the major challenges which thousands of European families are facing at the moment when they are trying to get access to decent housing. So I'm going to turn to the round of questions now, but I should just like to point out that we have had an important discussion about Greece, the state of the rule of law in Greece, after the recent decision taken on the actions of our previous colleague, Mr. Rolakis, who is going to come to Strasbourg next week to try and uncover the scandal which has been going on under Pedrato and the National Intelligence Service, because the courts have not only condemned 4 people who were suspects within the government, but they have also reopened the case, which is very important in these discussions that we're having in the context of the rule of law within Parliament. So now I'm open to any questions that you might wish to put.
It's time for your questions. Please, Pietro.
Good morning, Pietro Guastamacchi, ANSA. You explained the position of your group clearly when it comes to Iran. You believe that the military action that happened violate the international law. I would like to ask you if you feel that this position is shared in the European Parliament, if the other groups, in your opinion, have been vocal on the topic as well, or on the contrary, if other groups are not so are not rallying behind this position. Especially, I'm mentioning there has been an interview in Italy of European Parliament President Roberta Metsola, where she said that international law is sacred but cannot be used to defend a bloody regime. What would be your reaction to that?
Cualquiera sabe. Now, everyone knows what international law cannot be, well, it can be used, not a little bit or a lot. It can't be used. It should be respected. There are rules. There are standards. International law has to be respected. And I think there cannot be any abuse of international law. Unfortunately, we are experiencing a world in which multilateral associations mean that we have to fight all the more and more than we would like to. We have to fight for international law. But international law, it's not an abuse of international law. It is establishing respect for international order because it's in our treaties. We have no other choice as the European Union. We don't have an option. Europe absolutely has to respect its treaties, where treaties define clearly the obligation of the European institutions to uphold international law. I believe that this should be something that is clear. It shouldn't even be up for debate. It should not be up for debate at this time. When we make an appeal for the need for unity, a single voice for Europe, I agree, a single voice for Europe, but this single voice for Europe has to call for the respect of international law. There cannot be any other way, no other voice. There is no interpretation. There is not a way to selectively use international law. And anyone who calls this into question is calling into question the fundamental principles of European construction. I hope that we can resume this clear line of discourse, because I would like to underscore the importance of European unity at this time. As I've said before, otherwise we will be the ones that are going to pay for the consequences of what is the responsibility of others. We have seen that appeasement, the policy of appeasement, is not working.
Thank you. Max, please.
Hi, Max Griena for Politico. I have two questions. First of all, on how the Commission and its President Ursula von der Leyen is dealing with the US regarding trade, regarding Iran. Do you have a message for her? Does S&D agree with how she's handling it? That would be one. Also, in the context of what she told ambassadors on Monday about the New World Order not existing and so on, what is your reaction to that? And on the other hand, there's a reporting this morning in El Mundo in which anonymous sources told this paper that von der Leyen said to her closest circle that she has two problems in council, Sanchez and Orban. Do you have any reaction on that? Thank you.
Con respecto a esta última.
On that last question, well, I'm awaiting something from the European Commission. They've got to admit that there's been an error here and that these words are not true. I'm hoping that they're going to reject this from now on. Now, on the international order and the statements of President von der Leyen, yesterday, this did have a major impact on public opinion and also within our political group. We're going to have a discussion on this tomorrow morning. And during the debate, I do hope that President von der Leyen will be able to clarify her statements And I think from my point of view, and certainly within my group, this has generated surprise and, of course, concern, because calling into question the need to defend international law is not something which we can accept. To talk about a new order just like that, as though it was something that means that international law has been something naively used thus far, is something that we really cannot accept. We believe this is an open debate, and we hope that President von der Leyen will be able to clarify her statement and her position.
One of your PSOE colleagues posted something on X yesterday saying that, lo voy a decir en español, que
I'll ask in Spanish that von der Leyen is winning a motion of censure. Is this the general PSOE position? Would you agree with this? I believe that I don't want to go into the interpretation of the statements, personal statements of individual members of parliament had made. Without getting into that, I think what it reflects is that there is that people are feeling disconcerted, and therefore I hope that tomorrow during the debate we will be able to clarify this point. But I'd like to really insist on the fact that I think it shows that people they're discontent and they're disconcerted. And of course, we await the clarification, clearly. I fully trust that tomorrow we will be able to lift all of this doubt, and that the President of the Commission is not obviously coming into question international order. I'm sure that that's not the case.
Vincenzo, please.
Good morning, buenos días. Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Yo quería hacerle una pregunta sobre...
I'd like to put a question on migration. It seems that yesterday, Mr. Guillaume, whom we heard many times round from the right, is attacking the EPP, and the EPP is blaming the Socialists for the compromise not being agreed upon. So how can we see cooperation with the EPP in your opinion? Are you going to be doing something in this context? Yes, we are fully aware of the fact that when we're talking about immigration, migration, our agreement is going to be very difficult when it comes to agreeing with the EPP. It's possible that we can't accept the responsibilities which our group would be shouldering if we were to agree with them on their terms. We are a responsible group. We want to agree. But of course there are red lines which we cannot accept in our group. And the EPP knows our red lines full well, and they have done nothing, absolutely nothing, to try and sort out this situation and come up with a text which can be agreed upon by all of us. Now, we in the EPP have seen no move on this. They seem to have been totally overcome by the extreme right on this issue of migration, and it's their problem, it's their responsibility. They seem to have caved in.
Yes, please.
Sí, gracias.
Yes, thank you. That was very clear. Now, immigration is a subject. Is that an area where you can cooperate? I think it's been repeated time and time again, and then the Socialists have had their position when it comes to the agreement with other groups. What is your position, clearly? Are you outside of the agreement? Will you be in the minority, and then will you attack otherwise, or is there another approach to this? Obviously, we are fully cognizant in which there are decisions that are going to be made where this group will not be able to be a part of that, where we're going to be outside of that. We will continue, of course, to try to be a part of agreements, but along these lines, this is the work that we are carrying out right now by way of cooperation. If there's just one subject that means that we can have cooperation throughout the course of the rest of the legislative term, I think that's really going to depend on the circumstances. Now, if you ask me now, We are currently experiencing a time where there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern, a lot of instability, and we want to try. We want to try to find stability in Europe. Again, allow me to be clear. If it means that we have to give up our principles and our values, well, then this is going to be a big debate that we're going to have within our political family. And we'll have to see how all of the other issues unfold.
Thank you. Did I see that there was a question in the back,
Oui.
please?
Oui, merci, Emmanuel.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'll wait. Thank you. Emmanuel Stresser from Brussels 2. I've got 3 questions. One is, what do you think about the French proposal to extend the nuclear umbrella across Europe? What about Europe and foreign policy? This stronger single voice, what about that? You've also got Kaja Kallas as well as Ms. von der Leyen making statements on this. And then a question, I think you probably have a suggestion to make to Mr. Costa relating to Azerbaijan. Because we know that the Armenian Prime Minister is speaking to the European Parliament, and the European Parliament has come up with several resolutions to denounce the situation in that country.
Sí, este Parlamento se ha pronunciado.
Yes, on the problem of Armenia, the Parliament has made many statements, and there are a lot of questions which have arisen on the rule of law, for instance. You'll remember when last December we gave the Sakharov Prize to the journalist, and we saw a lack of consistency because this is a country where democracy is not defended, when journalists are penalized, and at the same time we've got a whole list of safe countries not for Europeans but safe for immigrants, yes. Of course, we want to be consistent, but the Chamber did pronounce on all those issues. And on the question of the nuclear umbrella and its extension by France, I'm not going to refer to actions or specific proposals of one specific member state. Of course, they have the right, every right, to take such an initiative. But I think we need to go further than that because we are having a discussion in Europe on the need for a proper European defence. We're going beyond national discussions. And we can look at the proposals of different member states, different countries, in the context of our decision on how Europe can be a global actor in the world. We need not just to have foreign policy, we need to have a European defence policy. And it's not just to do with the industrial manufacture of weapons, of arms. It goes far further than that. When we are looking at European defence, we're looking at things like a European army. And I think that this specific action or proposal of one member state should be looked at within the context of something much broader and European, in this case, a European defence policy.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And if there are any questions, please contact us throughout the week. Merci.